Okay, it's live
Just a
now.
little bit
really
live.
hot when I got here.
Hello, we're
Mark was
live
in
here, folks. We'll be starting in just a few minutes now. You guys keep talking. I got to take a drink of water and all this stuff. But
But when we go
those,
live,
those of you on the internet,
probably
we will be momentarily.
Yeah, it's live.
We're live.
It's official.
What a big way to start a show, taking a drink of water.
Like a whole
John-
gallon.
Johnny Carson would tell us.
one a day. Weekends, one a day.
Did some lady die from drinking too much water? No, there was a lady who it was just she pushed the limits. I don't know if she was going for a record or just really thirsty.
I think I've heard of that, but it was like 12 liters or something like that. Like it was quite a lot.
12
You don't have
liters.
to drink a lot, you just have to drink it wrong.
What do you
You
mean?
just like go down the wrong tube into your lungs. Boom, you're done.
Try drinking again.
Yeah,
Pretty
you're
quick.
done.
Down the breathing tube and I was going to.
It's a new type of drinking problem.
And let me take a drink of something a little bit more tasty than water. Fiddler's Choice Scotch. You can get it for a very unreasonable price at the NSLC. Wow, yeah, thank you so much everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. Looks like we're going to have a show. Thought someone was going to the bathroom, but I think that door's just being closed. Yeah, I guess we're live, aren't we? Let's go. Let's do this show. Let's see if I can pull this off. I don't know. Those of you who've spent more than 5 minutes with me, maybe not our new friends from the cafe, but everybody else knows that I have significant urinary woes. I've been going to the doctors about for 18 years. Can't get nowhere. The latest thing is they've got me putting electrical pads onto my leg. Man, I better not pee while they're on. Imagine that. Don't whiz on the electric pads. I stole that from Ren and Stimpy's 30 years ago. Don't whiz on the electric fence. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, and like, I don't know, man. They told me to turn it up like as high as it could go, right? So like, I'm like, I want results, right? So I'll crank the motherfucker, right? And just like, it's like my foot's flopping up and down. I feel dizzy and woozy after, man. Fuck smelling burnt toast. I am burnt toast. You know, and electricity, like, what are they trying to, like, shock my pee into, like, working? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Give me enough. I know, get it done. If this doesn't work, why not send me the electric chair? I won't have to worry about it anymore. Can you imagine? Oh, goodbye, cruel world. I'll never have to pee again. Man, this shit fucks me up so much. I think about going to therapy about it. But you know what? You'd imagine the irony of that conversation. Doctor, my only problem is that doctors can't help me. Just imagine the shrink there, like scratching his chin, you know. Oh, I don't know about that one, Josh. That's going to be a lot of sessions. Yeah. And you know what happens then? Not only is my peeing still wonky, now I'm broke. That is the great con of Western therapy, I think, folks. You know, on occasional situations, I think it's helpful. But more often than not, all you're really doing is telling a complete stranger about your problems for a very unreasonable price. So, my shows are breaking the con of Western therapy because no, I am not paying to tell a complete stranger about my problems. I am charging an audience to come listen to me complain about my problems. I think we'll make it work. I hope I can make it entertaining enough for you that it's worth your while. Let's see. To be determined, eh? To be determined. Let's find out. Speaking of weird things, I don't know if you've done the online dating. I saw it with the weirdest profile I ever saw, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit. She said something like, you know, if you see the positive side of things in spite of difficulties, or if you derive any joy from life at all, we are not a match. So I replied, I hate everything. Wouldn't you know, now we're engaged. Yeah, our dates consist of stealing candy from babies, tripping senior citizens, and intentionally giving people the wrong directions. Misery really does love company, I guess. Yeah, I'm just joking, folks. That was a real profile, but unfortunately for her, I actually do derive some small pleasure of life, so we are not a match. Who the hell, like, why would you put that profile on there? Like, who's gonna answer that ad? Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, fuck. Good Lord, foolishness. But one of the great things about romance not working out, if you're heterosexual, rather, is that there is no chance of accidental pregnancy, right? Like, if our bodies have never touched, we are not having a baby. Now, yeah, if you won't even let me hold your hand, I am not the father. Speaking of not being the father, my friend in the back there, I don't know if she wants to be acknowledged, but she will for the purposes of the joke, gave me a wonderful, funny shirt for Christmas. Abe, could you hold that up for everybody so they can see? Yeah. Stepdaddy material, right? They got it, it's cool, thanks. The only problem with that is I don't want to be stepdaddy material. No. You know what that says to me? I'm not really that into you, but you could put my kid through college. No, man. Joke's on mama and the baby. I'm on welfare. That kid better get a scholarship. Yeah, you know what I'd much rather that shirt did say? What I would rather be? I would much rather be baby daddy material. Because you know what that says to me? I am really into you, but you don't have to change any diapers. No, you guys all like changing diapers, I guess. Fuck it. But
Love that shit.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Piss too. There's lots of toilet paper, folks, in the background there. You can see that. But you know, I think I would make an excellent baby daddy, because you know, this cerebral palsy jab, man, that ain't genetic. But my genius and good looks are. So's my fucking ego too. Yeah, man, my kid is gonna be the most confident kid in the world who can't afford a college education. Chip off the old block, eh? Just like dad. Just like dad. Oh yeah, I almost skipped over this. I can't believe I did that. All this dad talk got me. This is this thing that happened like several years ago, and it was so hard not to laugh. This really old dude. He reminded me of like Sean Connery, and he like floored me with this comment. He was like, "Oh, gonna have a baby, go get a job." And I'm looking at him, and I'm trying not to laugh, and I'm like, dude, if you're already collecting old age pension, like, I don't think your professional future is looking that bright. No, I don't think it is. If you have the same amount of hair and teeth as a newborn child, you should not be having that child. If you are old enough to be baby granddaddy, then you are way too old to be baby daddy. While we're still on the subject of romance, I couldn't believe this, but apparently the late Stephen Hawking was caught cheating. What does this say about the nature of men when a man who can't move or communicate independently can still fucking cheat? Good Lord. I don't know, man. Like, and he was caught cheating twice. Twice. What does Stephen Hawking say when he's caught cheating the second time? Whoops, I did it again. You know, and like, he's caught with his fucking nurse of all things too, right? And like, so how, like, imagine his wife or somebody that was him through his inner circle walked in, like, how would Stephen Hawking try to justify his cheat, right? Like, what's he gonna say? I swear this is not what it looks like. Those are circulation exercises for my penis. I need them for my health. Yes, geez, Steve, sex is good for my health too, man, but I ain't gonna try and perpetrate like it's physiotherapy. Holy shit, man. And like, so now you're cornered him, right? So now you got him, so he has to like fess up, right? And he's like, okay, you got me. The spark in my marriage was gone. Shouldn't have role played though. I tried to be the nurse. Now we're both in the same hospital room. Guess watch the involvement of your role play if you have advanced ALS. Rest in peace, Stephen Hawking. I don't know, maybe this is too silly, but before I move off of romance, I'll leave you with a quick one-liner that I thought of. What does a jealous Saudi Arabian husband say? He says, "How dare you look with such lust in your eyes, and only my wife's eyes." Oh well. Trying not to be easy. Let's move on from that real quick, I guess. Shit. Okay. Yeah, from that to, I think, believe it or not, Madonna. Have you guys heard about this? Couple of, I don't know how many, Madonna's suing her for being 2 hours late for her concert. You guys hear about this? Yeah. So, I think the comment was something like, I wouldn't have stayed that late if I had known, right? Yeah, but dude, you stayed till the end, man. Like, I can't go to a movie and be like, and stay till the very end and be like, oh my god, that was shit, I need my money back, right? I can't like, go to eat and be like, oh my god, that was awful, but I choked down every last bite. I demand my money back. A little family inside joke that nobody else will get. I know Hugh McDevitt. Thank you, Tonto. The only, quick aside, I wasn't going to explain this, but my grandparents were friends with a couple, and this guy was always like, there was always a hair on his suit. He was always trying to get a free meal. So I'm very egregiously trying not to be that man in my adult years. You know, and it's like, further on to the point, you know, like you can't go see a sex worker and be like, after it's all over with, like, oh my god, that was terrible, I'm gonna pay for that. Like, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder for angry pimps the rest of your life. Trust me, I once met a sad pimp, wasn't angry, but I talked about the pimping, so I think he's doing better now. I don't know, true story or not, I once had somebody ask for the money back when I took my socks off. Yeah, and that wasn't even working. We was in a long-term relationship. That's silly, but you know, like, getting back to Madonna here, like, I know it's not professional to be like 2 hours late for your show. Like, if I'm 2 hours late for my show, like, I'm not gonna make the $13 I normally make, right? Like, I get it, right? But dude, Madonna's this singer, like, maybe she had legitimacy, maybe she didn't, but like, imagine if Madonna had something stuck in her throat. What would she sing then, you know? Imagine that. Living in the material world. Fans suing me, I can't breathe. Poor Madonna, man. Like, like, it's just so ridiculous to me. Like, that's like being in a traffic, you're stuck in a traffic jam. What are you going to do, sue every car in front of you? No, I don't think you will. Maybe some people would. I don't know.
Is that possible?
Well, if you could count them all.
Yeah.
I don't
Keep that
know.
in mind.
Yeah. And
You're
I
in the
still...
US, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Vietnam too, but I don't know. But like, you like, thinking back to that quote, oh, I wouldn't have stayed this late if I had known. Yeah, okay, but you can't sue Madonna for keeping you up past your bedtime. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I gotta take a drink to that, because I gotta get into something even more ridiculous that I can't even believe. Let's get some water here. Sorry for all you live audience and You 3 people in online.
4.
4? Oh, pardon me. This is, to me at least, so ridiculous. Like, I come up with silly things and whatever, but I wouldn't even thought of this one. Going to school in rural Nova Scotia, at Cape Breton, I believe, there is I think it's like junior high or some shit, but a kid who now identifies as a cow. Now, we've heard, throughout the years, those stories of, lonely hillbillies loving on their livestock, right? It happens once in a while. But I think something very unique to our modern times is for that lonely hillbilly to actually think they are their livestock, right? That wouldn't have happened in years past. I don't think. And the kid was not always that way. Now, they used to be a cat. So much so that the parents approved, the teachers had to go along with it, to the extent that the kid was eating cat food for lunch. Do you imagine that? You imagine a teacher conference on that shit? Oh, geez. Well, Jim, childhood obesity is really getting out of control, and, well, there's no sugar in that kibble. Won't aggravate her diabetes. And now that she's a cow, like, I guess she got to switch to grass, right? Like, imagine a conference on that one. Well, Jim, there's no grains in that kibble. You get the vegetables, I guess. And I hope that kid has a vivid enough imagination to develop the 4 stomachs necessary to digest that fucking grass. Right?
Wouldn't have to mow the lawn.
Just eat your way to the perfect lawn, eh? Fucking fantastic. Thank you, Abe. I like that. And like, here's the thing, right? Like, I'm not trying to rag on some poor kid's imagination, or like, if you're like a furry, if that's part of your sexual identity, that's cool, right? But just for the like functionality of everyday life in the human world, like, I don't see how you can be a cow. Like, how are you going to pass your test at school? Cows can't read. Extend it further, how are you going to get a job? Imagine, like, a telemarketer cow. Yeah, like, I might not hang up as quick, right? I might get a laugh. I might say something funny in return. But I won't buy nothing. Well, not unless it's Fancy Feast, right? Groceries are getting awful expensive, And I might think to myself, well, fuck, if people eating it, maybe it ain't that bad, right? Oh, get some Fancy Feast. But then, as silly as this all is, I had a good long think about this, right? And, like, we're fucked up as humans. We're very animal people are the route to salvation, Maybe they're like the next stage of evolution, right? Because let's face it, man, animals can't carry guns and drop bombs, right? So maybe we should all become animals, sit around the campfire and grunt out kumbaya,
I'm in.
I didn't even have to finish the song. He's in already. Let's start the fucking revolution, baby. Yes. Save us, animal people. Save us from ourselves. So try to see if I can explain this to the extent that I want to. But I think we've really got our priorities mixed up. Scientists have recently been trying to get a new atom smasher funded, right? The deal with this is the bigger the atom smashers are, the more powerful they are, and fuck, man, like all this little particles, like shit. 17 billion, like that could feed a lot of people. 90 kilometers, that could house a lot of people. Just goes to show, man, we care more about things we can't see than we care about human beings. Too sad to laugh at, I guess. Save us, animal people, save us. Okay, so thanks. Before I get on to the side of this, I will leave you with just this one thought. People tell me that I should go to anger management. And that makes me really mad. Makes me want to punch him right in the face. Who the fuck are you to tell me I have an anger problem? That broken jaw was from love, not from anger. Thanks. That concludes the stand-up portion. I will now switch my glasses and switch to reading. Thanks for sticking with me through that stuff. I have never done any of that material before. Except to my webcam in the last month. So we made it through, and yeah, it's a great time for a bathroom break. Go for it, man. Love it. Glad it's not me having to go now. Are you applauding me or him taking a pee?
Both.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, how the fuck can I read the movie? The prices I paid for trying to be cool. Now we've gone through the reverse Stefan Ergal machine, the cool machine, going from Stefan to Steven. Did I do that? Yeah.
Oh,
You did.
yeah. Family matters.
Yeah, my pop cultural references are all 30 years old, so
Oh, they're landing.
people are either like too young or like so old that they can't remember that those happened.
There was a time we used to watch that show.
Yeah. What's a TV?
Stood for tele.
Yes.
Tele vehicle.
Whoa, come mash my food for me, Ethel. I'm losing everybody. See, I promised that wasn't going to be funny anymore, and then I tried to stretch it out. Look what happened. This first number here, this first poem, is kind of about my thoughts on the coming year 2024. I think that it's going to be a very big year. I kind of focus this a little bit more on personal stuff and my health stuff in particular, but I think without any further ado, I'll give you 2024. I prognosticated 2023 to be a year where we could reap what we had sown. Just look at the state of things, and there is no doubt we are in trouble. But my prognostication was meant to be more personal. If you had made the effort, you would receive your flowers. If you had not made the effort, you would be stuck in the pit of your own self-loathing. The forecast proved partially true for me. I was not idle, so had little reason to despise myself. Look at this going down the toilet. I made progress, but not as much as I'd hoped. Grants were denied once again, and some of my shows were so poorly attended they weren't worth doing. But the blocks were not as severe as in 2022. At least one of my shows was a great success for me and for the audience. And the Sisyphean promotion of my film was nearly finished. But more than anything, 2023 was a year of profound image. My dear grandson moved away to see his own grandchildren grow up. I have a friend who's in his 60s who I call my grandson, but he's very young at heart, so that's why he's my grandson. And a very close friend became gravely ill once again. The sweet love that had brightened my sky for nearly 2.5 years came to an abrupt end the day after I turned 40. The love wasn't quite working, but it was the greatest I ever had. I feel this year will be gigantic. Whether spectator or participant, I would encourage you to engage as fully in the stream of life as you can. For those times when we must all be a captive audience to the fat cats and the power plays, we must use our God-given critical minds to keep a close eye on what's really going on. Be wary of friends that demand it must only be one way or the other. truth of things is usually multi-layered and colored, and knowing is truly half the battle. Use your keen, well-trained eye to inform your actions, so that they are to your greatest advantage and meet the needs of those around you. My greatest wish this year is for better health. I have two chances. First, I must increase the voltage to my tense tree. The popped up power scratches similar to a tattoo and leaves me rather dizzy and drained. But if it works, I shall have most of the life I've been missing the past 18 months. If it does not work, I shall have to visit the pelvis doctor. I have no clue what they may say, or if they may be able to alleviate my woes. But if they can gyrate me back to normalcy, I will start to lead the activity-based life I have always dreamed. No crowded nightclubs for me unless I'm on stage, and I would return to the stage with gusto, well enough to navigate the nuisance of networking, though I do not enjoy it and am not terribly savvy. I think I would be up to the challenge, and could finally start earning the living I deserve. My life off stage would still avoid crowds as much as I could. But I would be out and about, going wherever I please, visiting my dear ones whenever they could stand me. And I would take in our beautiful scenery and peaceful quietude, walking as much as I could, and stopping to rest and drink it in as long as I desired. If none of these things work, I will continue to plod along with my restrictions. I will write, perform, and be as active as I can, visit as much as I am able, and I will leave those Hippocratic hypocrites alone for a few more years until they might get new treatment to start over. If I should die, it will be with regret. I've accomplished much of what I have set out to do, but there is still much to be done. I trust you will be kind enough to spread my possessions around fairly, and that you will share my work sometimes, because the world is tumultuous, and I can't imagine it will have gotten over itself enough for the things I say to be completely irrelevant. I had marvelous times, and true companions, and believed in myself enough to do things most people only dream of, even though my flowers never really came. But here I am, still breathing, working as happily as I can. I hope that last year's endings make space for new and more meaningful beginnings. I will not seek out people in desperation. If dysfunction looms too large, I will choose solitude over the unhappy company of people who perpetually make the same mistakes. That label is very exciting. And, like every disabled person, I must be leery of people who feel sorry for me. I may need specific assistance, but I am not a means to feel better about yourself, because I am at least as human as you are. In spite of my vigilance, my heart is as open as it can be. I welcome new and happy companionship. If the fit is right, if the fit is right, I shall do my best to maintain the bonds I have been fortunate enough to already form. I seek reciprocity in whatever love may visit me. This year of the dragon will be gigantic. I hope that its bad aspects don't overwhelm the good. I wish you your finest year to date, and that you can achieve your potential without restriction.
Thanks,
Happy New Year, folks.
Thank you.
A little late.
That's good.
Yeah, I'll drink some water before I start the next one here. These awkward pauses in the middle. Can you drink and sing? Is there any time? I don't know.
I think no.
Move.
Animal
Am I
noises
staying
have
like
been
centered
going good.
in the shots, or
You're good.
more or less? Yeah. Okay. This next one, this is also personal. Our final piece is not. It's more geopolitical. But I got into arts and as a fan, and then doing my own stuff to sort of overcome sadness. But I don't know if this is the right answer. It's the answer that's worked for me. But I became really obsessive about, like, I do deep dives with things. I'm trying every cure the NSLC has to offer, and other that's one of the things I didn't mention here. But like becoming obsessed about stuff and having projects was kind of my way out. of the pit, and I think that has its problems, but on the other hand, it's the only thing that's helped me. So this is my wrestling with that, and the poem is called Obsessed. Obsessed. I was going to call it Obsession, but Calvin Klein threatened to sue me. So. Here is Obsessed. For almost 20 years, obsession has been my shovel out of a quicksand of total sadness. There have been some very close calls. With my head submerged for terribly long stretches, I have barely escaped breathing. It stays with me because I never quite know when the sky will darken and my head will sink below the surface again. I am never fully free because the shovel is full of sad sand to remind me that on happier times can be back in a blink. It is the tool that taught me if you can love people so deeply who can't love you, then you must learn to love other things just as much. My shovel is not Buddhist or anything like it. I will not simply be and leave it at that. That kind of jive is good for a monk, but not for someone who wants to achieve things. In spite of my isolation, I am of the world as much as I possibly can be, and only truly content with the process and realization of goals. I must be funny and poignant with at least 3 new 45-minute shows each year. I must solicit, thank God with help, every university in the country to screen my film. I had better hurry to secure a TV deal should time cause the chance to slip through my fingers. I can't live with missing the opportunity. I must, thank God with help, finish my refurnishing project that has taken me 10 years, but I had better be careful not to make any more mistakes. I've made a few and have had to replace them in great frustration. I must, thank God with help, expunge the junk that has accumulated in my home the last 20 years. I have listened to all of the record store's several thousand hip-hop albums and formulated a worth buying list. I am now several thousand and about halfway through the jazz inventory. I do this with every record at SoundCloud and will listen to one at least twice before it purchase. Even at an incredibly low price, everything that comes in must be good enough. I have read my bookshelf and am reading a several thousand-page encyclopedia that chronicles film from 1894 to 2000. I have made a note every time the book lists a film, and I'm currently on 1978. I intend to watch at least part of all of these to see if they are good enough to own. I even insist on including all parts of the video game I'm not terribly enthused about. So who knows that? I just can't seem to help it. I am so deeply frustrated that my podcast stopped at 29 episodes because my sweet ex-partner just didn't feel like doing it, and I couldn't settle on an important enough interview to mark number 30. God damn it, I need to write that memoir, which will be imbued with my thoughts on how we can make the world a better place. My health is shaky, and I'm not sure how long I have. I sure wish I could just be, but that ain't who I am. My shovel is charged with electricity. It's the same kind of divining rod that made Van Gogh cut off his ear and made it blow himself apart through the chest. But it also made him one of the greatest artists who ever lived. Buddy Bolden invented jazz and spent the rest of his life in an asylum. Thankfully, I was able to talk my way out of that hell after just 8 days and convalesce at home until those poor, hopeless professionals finally gave me the right cocktail to sleep. If I throw away the shovel, I become worthless. Certainly more relaxed, but with a sloth and self-loathing that is near impossible to dig over. But then, if I use it too much, I risk electrocution. That which makes you great can also destroy you. Just ask Van Gogh and Bolden and countless others. I sure hope they have found sweet peace in the afterlife, and that God and the angels are hip enough to sing their praises. I must remember to take rest and visit my dear ones as much as I can, and to keep my heart open should sweet love ever visit my doorstep again. But the shovel is all I have for self-esteem. Forward, forward, get it done. Who knows how much time you'll be gifted. And if I can gracefully put it down and devote my leisure to helping some of those poor souls most people would rather not talk to. But for now, I must dig away. There is much left to do and a limited amount of time. Can I walk that sweet fine line, stay inspired and productive, and coax the world into being a bit more decent? Or will I fall prey to the electricity and become a shocked shell of myself? Physically, I can barely move, and my health lets me know it is always askew. But mentally, I am incredibly nimble, and as resilient as anyone. Goddamn it, I can fight. With sadness and madness and fear of early death nipping at my heels, I'll beat you back to that show. I'll wear thick gloves to keep it from scorching my soul, and I will do everything I can to finish the journey on my terms. Thanks, guys. We got one more to complete the evening. It is probably the longest poem I ever wrote, weighing in around 11 or 12 minutes, so I'm definitely going to need to take a fluid break for this one. Start with the water first this time. Water then whiskey. That's the formula. One down, one to, let's see if I can sing with the whiskey in me. Oh. Okay. This is like, I don't know that I'm qualified to do this. I don't know that anyone is qualified to do this. But with the events of October 7th and like Israel's resultant genocide afterward, I tried to attack this. I would spend 3 hours a day on this poem, mostly with research. I'm not an historian or a historian or a scholar or anything like that, but I tried, and I tried to get the facts straight as far as I knew them and still make a cohesive and rhythmic argument. This will close the show because I don't know anything to follow this. It's called No Peace in the Middle East. Since the dawn of civilization, its cradle has been at war. The waters of life have always run scarlet with blood. I think this says a great deal more about the nature of power than it says about the nature of people. Amongst our billions, I would wager most have not killed, but you would be hard-pressed to examine our rulers and find any without blood on their hands. Judaism began when its founders broke away from the corruption of Canaan. The Bible tells us God made his covenant with Abraham over 4,000 years ago. I think most of us would make the same pledge to save their son. When the Torah was composed, nearly 1,500 years later, its authors labored under the captivity of Babylonian oppressors, recounting the tribulations they faced under slave-driving pharaohs and the long-desired salvation achieved under Moses and Joshua. Jews have been persecuted in all corners of the world, murdered and exiled everywhere in the centuries preceding and following the Roman expulsion, and the kingdom of Judah was destroyed in 132 AD. Its former inhabitants were already a diaspora. The majority had already fled Israel because of constant war and persecution. Home was not safe, and only a small portion remained in the region for nearly 2,000 years. The history of the Jews is one of slavery and exile, but also of incredible perseverance. Despite being murdered and mistreated nearly everywhere, they would make outstanding contributions in all walks of life, wherever that life may be. When Hitler exacted his evil, it was nothing new, just a more modern and powerful means to achieve a Holocaust. Now, a select few descendants of that Holocaust, the ones with the means to command military strikes, are hell-bent on creating another. Like victims of sexual abuse, they become perverse perpetrators, and the cycle of violence seems unlikely to cease. Arabs have inhabited the world as long as people have lived, but Muslims did not exist until the early 7th century, when Muhammad received the word around the year 610, calling for submission to one God, preparation for the final judgment, and charity for those in need. He unified all the tribes of Arabia and succeeded in abolishing the decadent paganism of the former Meccan elites before he died in 632. Many believe submission to the will of Allah means to follow the ways of the old Abrahamic prophets. Though there was and still is great controversy over Muhammad's rightful successor, Islam spread all through the Middle East and swept as far as the shores of India and Spain during its golden age from the 8th to the 32nd. These great Persian empires led the world in science, philosophy, and religion during their reign. Arabs and Muslims are not exactly one and the same, as Islam is a missionary religion with members from all cultures and will gladly welcome all souls who genuinely fear Allah. There are Arab Jews, but the link between the terms Arab and Muslim has been forged for centuries, so it is not surprising they have become synonymous to many. The term Palestinian is much more recent, its genesis occurring in 1834 with the revolt against the Egyptian Ottomans. It's a history just shy of 200 years, but similarly suffered with displacement, exile, war, and genocide. Hitler's Holocaust did not start the current conflict. The Zionism of the 19th century swept across Europe and called for a restoration of Israel, an establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Palestinians began to protest the Ottomans' sale of their homeland to foreign Jews as far back as the 1880s, and within the next 20 years, opposition was nationalized and bloody. And now, nearly 150 years later, events seem more perilous and desperate than ever. Hitler's Holocaust did not start all this, but his murder of 6 million Jews moved things along rather quickly. The modern state of Israel was formed just 3 years after World War II ended. As an outsider, I often think, why couldn't Germany come and meet Israel? But maybe it was too close to the terror. Perhaps European anti-Semitism was too fervent for a Jewish state within its borders. Britain and the U.S. backed the new Israel being established. Sympathy for the cause was more than justified, but I wonder how much was motivated by Western forces wanting a Western presence in the Middle East. 700,000 Palestinians were displaced with Israel's reformation. That would be most of modern-day Nova Scotia, without land to call home. We need only ask just few surviving members of indigenous genocide to learn that similar happened closer to us. Backed by the West and with one of the most powerful militaries in the world, Israeli forces would go on to displace approximately 5.9 million Palestinians and kill more than 30,000 in the 75 years that followed, as it increased its territory and control. The number displaced is eerily similar to that of the Holocaust deaths. Whenever there is conflict, Palestinian casualties vastly outnumber those of Israel. We have heard too many stories of Palestinian kids getting blown apart as they throw rocks at Israeli commandos. It scratches for death with sticks and stones, no match for rockets. That is the general tide of the conflict. But we mustn't forget state-sponsored or independent kamikaze vigilantes who blow themselves up in supermarkets, bus stations, and schools, taking with them any innocents who are in reach of the blast. Just because the terror is greater on one side, it does not excuse the killing of innocents by the weaker party. Some people may be more talented, others more kind, but no one life is more precious than any other. All 8 billion of us have just as much right to breathe as the next. Just before October 7th, I was thinking that with COVID and the climate crisis, events seemed awfully calm in the Middle East. I fear I cast a terrible jinx. Though Palestinians have suffered deeply, Hamas had no right to break into that kibbutz, kidnap 132 people, and kill several hundred more. The casualties were mostly civilian. Israel also had no right to bomb Gaza to smithereens in response, killing over 5,000 and displacing the entire region. The vast majority of casualties are, of course, civilian. Hamas had to know their hostage-taking would provoke this kind of response. I wonder, with its superior military, did Israel allow them in? Is there not some kind of perverse agreement between the powers? I hate you, and you hate me, so let each of us do his worst. Whatever the case, with this modern-day mutually assured destruction, everyone loses, most especially innocent people who must bear the consequences of the violence. If war could be waged, with less destructive consequences, with casualties only among the rulers and their militaries. If the rules of combat could be that sporting, there would be no war at all. I know it's more complicated than words can explain, but us and them just won't do. I'd much rather the complementary me and you. There is generational violence experienced for millennia. One cannot just dust off their roots or their trauma. I think about how I would react if some maniac hurt someone I love. I might not be so good as to turn the other cheek. I feel I have every right to stop them in the act, but after the fact leaves me with questions. Rationally, I can say revenge does not undo the wrong already committed, but my emotions may not be so reasonable. And in that way, I can understand the feeling, though I do not share the experience. We have all heard the saying, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. A bomb for a bomb, if taken far enough, leaves no one around to talk about it. I know I'm oversimplifying, but you are both children of Abraham. Were Isaac and Ishmael that opposed? Do not hold an entire people culpable for the actions of their rulers and renegades. Nothing I say can undo anything that has happened, but I believe there is but one God, and he calls for us to appeal to our highest capability, and that is not to kill, but to forgive. When your sacred texts ask you to do otherwise, remember that those words were written by men. War has gone back as far as people. It has the potential to kill us all. So I must ask everyone with the means to do violence, let past suffering serve as the example to do better. Make that near impossible choice of peace, because we all needed to survive. Thanks, folks. That was that's a hard one to do.
That was nice.
Good job, Josh.
Yeah.
Good job.
Great job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got plenty of liqueurs and drinks to sample. If people would make something to drink.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're probably doing pretty good.
Are you doing a rum party? Yeah.
Yeah.
you forgot to mention your quest through the liqueur section of the NSLC.
No, I did that in the preface to the poem. I wasn't written down, so I mentioned it in the lead up to the poem.
Well, touche.
Yeah, I try to do liqueur that the NSLC has to offer. Sometimes, no pressure, I do open this for like discussion afterwards if anybody has a problem with anything I said or you
I got a
know.
few things.
Yeah, you do it? Or has any thoughts themselves they'd like to share, this was more than open for that.
I wanna get that camera back out. Joking.
Yeah, at least you guys know I really do this stuff and I wasn't just some guy in a coffee shop talking shit.
We trusted you.
Yeah.
You showed up.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
show up.
Great, yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And it's funny, like, it doesn't, like, this is just a nice, like, chill crowd that I liked the last show, like, I only had, like, 4 people, so it didn't really work, you know, it was just a little too skinny, you know, to, like, make it flow and vibe and stuff, but,
Mistakes, though.
yeah.
I think the last show you had a good show. It was one
That you
before
were
that.
at, yeah, the one, I did one in
It was
September.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a packed house.
Um,
Thank God
you wanna
for
say
the
goodbye?
seats of that one.
Oh, we still on? Yeah,
I
thanks
fucking-
everybody for watching online.
I got knocked back
This
to
thing will be available
fucking-
later to watch the video until time immemorial, until you die or YouTube goes down, I guess.
I got right to the
Thanks for
washroom.
watching.
Fucking seats.
All right.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, but